Hello, I'm Rick Brimacomb, and welcome to Club E. I have been doing club entrepreneur with the Minneapolis Club since going back to 2007, a lot of years. Obviously took a little hiatus during COVID, but then I was doing digital interviews, and I see a couple of different people here that I've interviewed for that. And so there was a digital Club E going there for a couple of years, and then we did a few happy hour kind of events at Irish Titan, and I got a couple of Irish Titan folks right up here in front who I'll introduce later. So we did a couple of happy hours as COVID was kind of winding down a little bit, and then we started back up in November. So this is the third month for that. So again, I'm Rick Brimacomb, and on behalf of the Minneapolis Club and my firm Brimacomb, welcome. And probably the first question is, wow, that's a really bright jacket you got on. And if you've ever come during the December Club E, and there's another bright jacket in the room, so welcome. We're the Bright Jacket Club. And anyway, if anybody's ever come in December, I've been wearing this for years and years in December. It was actually my grandfather's coat, and with the lapel width here is probably from the early 60s into maybe the mid 60s, but and then the crest here is Austin Country Club, as in Austin, Minnesota. And I always remembered my grandfather, who at the time I thought was a giant because both my parents were quite small and I was a little kid, and I always remember him wearing this coat. So when he passed, I thought it was a blessing to get the opportunity to have his coat, and I always wear it in December. And the marketing people thought it'd be kind of funny to say, hey, if you come out in January to the January event, you can see Rick in his red coat. Now, technically, it's supposed to just be for December, but the marketing people got out ahead of me, so I'm just trying to catch up with them. I'm sure Pete would never direct, our speaker today, would never direct a company like my marketing people are directing me as to what kind of clothes I'm supposed to wear. And we'll hear about that with our marketing with meaning conversation today. And then the other thing, which I'll tell you about a little bit, is I'm launching a new branding and website, and some of the caricatures on the website have me in the red coat. So I'm going to announce the new website today. So for those reasons, that's the whole red coat thing. All right, so with that, marketing with meaning is our topic today. And Pete Stege has been a interviewee on the digital Club E format 3 times, I believe. Is that right? 3 times, Pete? All right. And so you'll get a chance to hear from Pete, and he'll talk about his book on purpose, the CEO's Guide to Marketing with Meaning. So we'll hear a little bit about his book and hear the presentation. And then he's got a nice offer that you can reach out to him and get a little extra if you would like. In terms of kind of an introduction, and I was thinking about today's event. I guess my view of the world right now is we got a 24/7 news cycle, and usually it revolves around drama and negativity and fear, and they're trying to stir up eyeballs and generate clicks, and so much negativity. We got political strife, we got inflation, whatever the new hoop is we're supposed to jump through that didn't know it was a hoop we were supposed to jump through yesterday, but now today we're supposed to jump through it, and all this stuff. And really, there's just so much noise that as a marketer, it's just, or any kind of business person, it's just difficult to rise above that noise. And I was kind of thinking about how we're really in a attention economy. And so in thinking about that, I thought that was a really good precursor to marketing with meaning, because if you're providing meaning, it is a way to try to rise above that noise and get some attention in a good way against and or competing with all these other things that are trying to get your time. So again, Pete Stege is our speaker today, and welcoming him to the in-person event for the first time. Before we get to today's discussion, Club E sponsors, which we couldn't do this without them. We got Irish Titan, and I got 2 Irish Titan folks right here in front. Raise your hands so they can reach out. Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. Absolutely. And Irish Titan has been with me since the very early days. I should go back and figure that out, but it's been many, many years. And we definitely would not be here without them. They do web development and e-commerce development. So think of complex websites that are selling stuff. That's what they do. So that's Eli and Natalie right there. And if you recognize Eli's last name, that's for a good reason. Hint, hint. And then Highland Bank is a local family-owned community bank, and they also have been a sponsor for a long, long time. And Andrew and Kathy are here somewhere. Oh, right there, right up here in front. So thank you to Highland Bank and So talk to Kathy or Andrew if you'd like to learn anything about Highland Bank and their banking services. And then Breakthrough Impact Group is a peer-to-peer group of business leaders that is led by Jeff Redmond. Jeff is right here to my right. And Jeff and I run that group together, but I would say I'm at best co-pilot and he's pilot. So I'm the eye candy. Yeah, I wear the red coat, so I'm the eye candy part of Jeff's equation. But we have some folks that are in Jeff's group here, so feel free to reach out and meet Jeff. Or if you wanted to learn a little bit about that peer group, we actually have some participants here in the audience. Reservations, we're going through post-COVID, a little bit of transition. The club is, getting their feet underneath them as things ramp up post-COVID. I got the new website, which is Brimacomb.com. And so all of the online stuff for Club E is now under Brimacomb.com. You say, all right, well, why are you doing that? Well, we had 3 brands before, Club E, Brimacomb, and Brimacomb Capital. And so now if you just go to Brimacomb.com, you can get all 3. And we're looking for feedback because it's a new website, so please go to that. The 3 new sections are Club E, Partnerships, and Capital. And then under the Club E section, actually, Wendy was the one who sent me an email a couple of days ago. There's some really cool new features in the club section. So there's a way to join the club, Club E. There's a way to get support as a business leader. There's a way to connect up with talent, either showing people what you have to offer or finding new talent. And then lastly, getting discovered for some kind of idea. So there's a couple different sections there that are cool. New LinkedIn company page, Brimacomb, that's got over 2,000 people on it. The old Club Entrepreneur LinkedIn page is now Brimacomb Group, and that's got 2,900. The website has an email list of 14,000. The old Club E email list will point you towards Brimacomb.com. All of that would say, including YouTube, that a lot of different ways to reach the audience. And if you don't know, YouTube's changing how they format stuff. So it's /@ and then Brimacomb gets you to everything. So everything is changing on YouTube. So anybody who's utilizing YouTube, you might look to see how you're branding yourself there. So it's youtube.com /@ Brimacomb brings you to all my stuff. And yeah, so Pete, getting back to him and precursor to our event, Pete's on the now Brimacomb.com website or the YouTube /@ Brimacomb website on there 3 times. Minneapolis Club, Heather, can you just step in and wave to everybody so everybody knows what you look like? Heather, yay, Heather. Heather's a representative of the Minneapolis Club, and anybody who'd like to learn about doing events here or joining or any questions or tours or anything, Heather can help you with all that. So thank you, Heather. She makes these things happen, so appreciate your efforts, Heather. Thank you. Future events, we have Family Matters on February 2nd. We have 3 pairs of folks. We have 2 people tied to Highland Bank. In the Highland Bank family, we have 2 brother-in-laws. And then the Crofts right up here in front, we have a husband-wife team. Oh, raise your hand higher than that. Thank you. They're a husband-wife team. And then I also have a father-son team. So in February, I have 3 different groups of family members who are all working together, and we're going to hear their stories. That's February 2nd. March 9th is Nothing Artificial About It, how artificial intelligence is going to change your business. Got a panel for that, March 9th. And then because of spring breaks, we're going to go back a week in April. April 13th, we're going to do Talent is the New HR. People think of HR I think in some ways kind of an older version of what that might be, and it's really more about talent, attracting, retaining, and incenting these days. And so we'll hear about talent April 13th. With that, I've already kind of teased up Pete a bunch of times. I would just add that he and I have had many conversations one-on-one, and he's always added value to me and my journey and companies I was involved in. So I feel like he's been of value to me and stuff that I've worked on. As I mentioned, we've interviewed him a couple times, and then with his career, lots of times people come at things from one perspective, small companies or big companies. He's done both, so very broad perspective on the topic, and recent author on his book On Purpose. And with that, let's introduce Pete Stege.
Hello, everyone. It's great to be here with you today. We're going to take 20 minutes or so and talk about this topic, marketing with meaning. I want to just plant a seed. I hope you, if you have any questions, I hope we're going to have a time at the end for that. I hope you share them, because I found that if you have a question, it's probably going to help other people in the room too. So don't be shy, all right? All right, let's get started. I'd like to start with a question for you. Who here can whistle, like with your mouth? Okay, that's interesting. I always thought everybody could whistle, but I read online about 2/3 of people can't whistle, and this audience is like that too. I can't whistle. It's bugged me my whole life. It looks simple, right? Why doesn't my mouth work that way? It's always been a frustration for me. Marketing is like whistling. If you don't have the right target with the right activities at the right time, the right budget, it doesn't resonate, and you don't get anything but hot air. And I know a lot of you have experienced that with your marketing. Whether you admit it or not, I've talked to a lot of people, and a lot of people are puzzled by marketing. They're frustrated. They don't know how to make it work. Business leaders are even a little embarrassed about it, right? Because they feel like they should be doing as good as what they see people doing with marketing. I want to share, this is probably the biggest takeaway for today. So if you're going to remember anything, remember this. It's not about how much you do with marketing, it's about why you do it. If you're doing, the more you do, the harder it is to do it well. And if it's not connected to a purpose, I believe you're wasting a lot of opportunity. So what we're going to talk about today is how you can instill purpose into your marketing. And what I want to start with is, what is marketing? How does it work? So a lot of different explanations of that, some of them pretty complicated. The one I work off of is actually pretty simple. Marketing is the building a relationship between you and your prospect or your customer. That's it, really. Marketing's job is to create and strengthen relationships between you and the people that your business serves. The cool thing about that definition is it scales. I've had a career in marketing, and I've worked with a ton of companies, both in the company and then also as a consultant with clients. So I've worked with billion-dollar companies in marketing. I've worked with $10 million businesses, the CEOs of those businesses today. And I've used marketing in my business and with other solopreneurs. This applies in every case. The job of marketing is to figure out how you can invest time and effort to change this relationship with the people that matter to your business. How do you do that? You create meaning. Nobody does anything unless they have a reason to do it. It's true from you buying a box of cereal at the grocery store, but it's also true for selling a $300,000 business services contract. The person you're talking to has to see value, see a purpose in why they should take that time out of their busy life and pay attention to your email or take time for your meeting. Likewise, you have to share your reason for that relationship, right? So this is, in essence, what marketing is all about. The way marketing is effective is, for whatever size your company, that's getting louder, isn't it? I don't know what that is.
It's not crickets, because we're all listening.
Yeah. Could you ask somebody back there to get some technical help for us here? If you guys are okay, I'm going to keep going until it's painful. So the way you do that with marketing, oh, okay, good, it's all good, is you create experiences around your prospects and your customers that create that meaning. That's how marketing works. So it's as simple as that. Those of you who are leaders of a business, you know you have some things that you've decided to do your marketing. A lot of people that I talk to, business leaders that I talk to, they start with tactics. So they say, we're going to do some stuff. We're going to send emails. We're going to go to an event. We're going to do promotional ads, whatever it might be. We're going to do stuff. Well, here's the problem, guys. In 2011, an organization called Chief Martech created something called a marketing landscape. And they tracked all the different vendors that provided marketing solutions. So think tactics. All the different companies out there that could help businesses do marketing things, the tactics. In 2021, that list had grown from 150 to 9,932. So how does a business know what to do with marketing? It's overwhelming. It's literally overwhelming. I think often it's a crapshoot for businesses. And so what do you do about that? Well, you need a strategy, right? Strategy brings order to your tactics, gives you a reason why you're going to do email at a certain level to a certain audience versus not. It gives structure, it gives priority, it gives timing and sequencing. It's really valuable. Well, the problem is, and that was probably good enough 20 years ago, there are now an explosion of strategies out there. So if any of you read business books, every year there's a good half dozen or dozen more really good ideas for how to approach this marketing strategy. Well, how do you make sense of that? Do you change with every new idea? That doesn't really work, because strategy needs to evolve and be steady, right? So the kind of the next important thing I'll share with you guys today that I encourage you to take away is, to be an effective marketer, tactics and strategy alone are not enough. And this gets back to what we're talking about. What you need to empower your strategy and organize your strategy, give it strength that will manage your tactics, is a mindset of meaning. And the rest of our talk today is going to be about how to instill a mindset of meaning into your marketing and into your business, because it's bigger than just a department of marketing or a marketing person. I'm going to share 3 marketing superpowers. These are 3 things, ways to talk about marketing that you probably aren't used to talking about it, that are superpowers and allow you to create a mindset of meaning in your business, whether it's just you, whether you're part of you're the leader of a $5 million business, or you're a part of a marketing team in a large corporation. All of those, you can hopefully benefit from this kind of new way to look at this. So let's get started. The first superpower of marketing with meaning: be authentic. Be transparent. You need your business to have integrity, to say what they're going to do, and to do it the way you say it. To really know what it is that you do and how you help people. Not made up, not what it should be, what it really is at its core. What it is your customers really need versus trying to manipulate them to tell them what they should need. Authenticity, it's a soft thing, but it's so important in marketing. If you are authentic in your business, and now I want to share one tool for you with each of these 3 superpowers to help you kind of exercise these muscles. So to be authentic, one of the best ways I've found to bring authenticity into your culture and into your marketing program is have a true story about your business. One true story. You need one single story. You've heard it talked about brand. Brand is like that, right? That's your truth. It's your brand truth. Your true story says why you get up every day to come to your business, why you created your business. That's your true story. And it's put in terms of who you help. I'm a big believer in having the sharpest targeted market you possibly can in your business. That's important because the sharper your focus and your story about that focus, the more specific and real and tangible what you do is, the value you provide. The broader you make that target, the more watered down your true story gets. Rick mentioned attention deficit, right? We all know it's so hard to get anybody's attention. Why water down your message so that people will just go right by your content? Make yourself stand out with a very, very unique story. To tell a true story, what I found, I use a tool called the truth chain, and I hope you guys, feel free to take part in this. I'm giving you a chance to get these slides later if you want. The truth chain allows you to create that true story, but make it not about you. Make it about your customers. Your customers don't care about you. They care about how you can help them. So what the truth chain does is it connects your story, which is the bottom, who you are, what your capabilities are, kind of what you do. And then you have to spend some time to really understand who is that focus, that person, that company or person you can help. What is it that keeps them up at night? There's a halfway point between those two, which is how you can help them. That's the starting place of your true story. What success looks like is you have this true story that's a sentence or a phrase, but then you build the details of that story into chapters, right? Not other stories, chapters of the one true story that you can tell to different audiences or to people at different points in your getting to know you, to people in different markets, to people through different channels, all the different ways. It's still your one true story, but it is in the language of your audience. Okay, so that's superpower number 1. Next, be intentional. Do less. Do it really well. Don't do anything in your marketing unless you know what you expect to get out of it. I think all of you, there's a lot of you that are going, oops. It's so easy to do stuff because other people are doing it, or it looks good, or there's a lot of reasons, subjective reasons, emotional reasons that people choose to spend money and time on marketing. You can't afford to do things like that. Think back to our one story. Everything you do, all the calories you expend for marketing your business, you should hold a very high standard to and say, does it help us tell our true story? What role does it play in helping that customer or prospect get to know us and our true story and how we can help them? If you do that, you'll find that you have a shorter list of things that are the right thing to do, but you also find that it's easier to figure out what the right things are. It's not, that meeting of, let's do a video. Yeah, let's do a video. It's no, we're trying to do this. And what will the behavior of our customer be if we do this? Okay, that's what we want to happen. And where are they? Okay, we know where they are. We know what they read or what they consume. Well, now you have a much easier way to have a data-driven conversation about what marketing tactics you should use from that 9,000 list based on the job that your marketing needs to do at that one point in your business. So the tool I'm going to suggest for you for improving the intentionality of your business is the customer journey. Those of you who have had, I see some heads nodding, those of you who have had marketing know this term. I want to talk about how it applies in this case. So remember we said that marketing is about creating relationships with prospects and customers, right? Well, that happens. That's the journey we're talking about. The journey to having a relationship with you. So what you want to do is sit down with your team, or with yourself if it's just you, and map out these 7 stages. Say, okay, so that target that I've decided on, that very specific role or company, what would happen if they got to know who I was and what I do? That's awareness. By the way, demand, that's figuring out who they are. That's not an action by them. That's the first one of saying, who is it we're talking about? That first step is, how do they discover me, right? So that's your first step. What does that look like? What's the behavior that they do that we know that happened? Then what happens that they say, hey, company, can you tell me more about your products? Whatever that looks like. How do you define that? Oh, they schedule a meeting with us. Oh, no, they just give us their email. Whatever it is, it's different for different companies. You want to know what that stage looks like. On through these 7 steps. Once you've mapped out what success looks like, so you're brainstorming here, right? You're saying, yeah, if we did everything right, this is what would happen, and we'd get all these customers. Then you go back through again and say, what does it look like today? What's it really look like? And you'll find there's some serious holes, serious differences between what you said needs to happen with your client and what is actually happening. The power of that and intentionality is you can very quickly see where the fire is, right? You can see, oh my gosh, they're totally stuck at the point where we sell them something. Or, wow, they really have a lot of friction when it comes to sharing their email address with us. Whatever it might be. In your business, it's going to be different for everybody. But doing that comparison between ideal and reality defines your marketing investment priorities. And then you go back to what I said before. You do less. You choose the top 3 things. Maybe it's one thing. It all depends on your scale and how much money you have and time. But you focus on that number 1 impediment. You solve that, and you go on to the next. So that's intentionality. The last of the superpowers is being generous. Be generous. I would wager to say you've never seen generous used as a word to describe marketing. It's huge. It's a huge opportunity. What being generous means is truly living what had you create your business in the beginning. You wanted to help. You wanted to provide a service to somebody, a company or person. You wanted to help them. The more you can make your marketing live that, be about helping them and not manipulating them to try to get them to answer your requests or to convince them. Rather, you're looking to find the people that would say, oh my gosh, where have you been all our lives? And do everything you can to help them. So you end up having meetings about your customer and what they need rather than meetings about how to get them to click on something because they didn't want to, right? You ask questions like, how much of our actual service can we give away before we charge? It's customer first on steroids. The interesting thing about this is that selflessness, if it shows up in your actions, it's a paradox. Because if you do that, there is nothing more attractive to prospects than somebody who truly cares. There's nothing more powerful. Back to the attention deficit situation, guys. You will stand out in a very, very positive way if you can change your culture or move it more towards this so that your actions and your deliverables and how you how you show up with your prospects looks different in this generous way. Really, really powerful. I think this is the most untapped superpower here. So marketing's all about differentiation. You want to stand out and you had to choose one of these 3 superpowers to work on, I recommend generosity. And I'm going to share one tool to help you with your generosity. I found that one of the easiest ways to give away value before people pay anything is content. And I don't mean a brochure. I mean solution content. A guide. Everybody's market is different, but figure out what are those problems that your customers have that you're going to help them with. Figure out a way to provide insights or information or data that helps them get started. And just give it to them. When you go to a client and ask for their email address or ask for a meeting, you're asking for them to give to you. When you go to them with your expertise and say, hey, I see you might have this issue. Here's some insights that we've created that hopefully will help you. Now you're giving to them. Who does that person, all else equal, who are they going to spend time with? The one that's asking to take from them or the one that's giving to them? The greatest thing about content too is it takes some work, but it's elbow grease kind of work. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Yes, you can spend money on it, but you don't always have to. You can be creative. This is a tool I use with clients to help us zero in on the most effective content. It's called the content triangle. And essentially, it just says, you want to pick a topic or create content that checks off 3 things. If you do, you're very likely to get that engagement that you're looking for. Number 1 has to be relevant to your target. So you want to pick something that hopefully is one of those keeping them up at night topics, because that's the email they'll open. That's the call they'll take, right? That's the booth they'll visit. Secondly, you want that content to take advantage of your special experience. Again, you're in business for a certain reason. You're really good at what you do. You've had thousands of hours of experience. You have a team. Your content ideally reflects that experience, provides value from it. That way, you don't have to say, we're great. They'll figure it out because you're providing them that with help in a positive way. And then third, you want it to be valuable. So yeah, there's a place for entertainment and comedy. Sometimes that's valuable. Often, I work with a lot of B2B companies. Often, you can miss the boat by trying to grab their attention with something that's empty calories, right? It's not helping them. Versus if you can provide them something that makes their life better, helps them accelerate or get over the hump of that problem, they're going to remember you, right? So if you can create content that includes all 3 of those, you've got winning content almost every time. So these 3 superpowers, as I said, you're probably not going to find them in a marketing textbook. I'm a firm believer that this is a mindset issue. This is a starting place, foundational work that you can do so that when you do get to the tactics, they are going to be more effective. And the 3 of these superpowers working together, any one of them is going to make you better. And I would start with generosity if you had to choose. But if you work on all 3 of these, it makes your marketing more effective, but it also strengthens your relationships with your clients and customers. And that's what marketing is for. They more clearly understand who you are and how you can help them. They trust you because they've seen your successful track record, and they've had a steady stream of valuable experiences with you, so they know you as someone that they value. This is how you stand out. This doesn't happen one-off. This doesn't happen with one ad or a Wall Street Journal article. This happens with a plan based on these 3 superpowers that works over time and creates those multiple experiences and changes people in marketing. So this isn't easy, but it's not expensive. It doesn't have to be. It scales. You know, depending on who you are, you have a different understanding of how far you have to take it. Everyone here has what you need to take advantage of this approach and make your business's marketing more effective. It just takes some focus, takes a little guidance, and then just going and doing it. And I encourage you all to do that, and I wish you all marketing that whistles. I have an offer for anybody that's interested. So if you would like this presentation, I would love to provide it to you. I also have time that I've portioned off on my calendar that I would love to do a 15-minute troubleshooting session with you guys and being totally transparent. That's me providing value, trying to be generous. I can really see a lot in 15 minutes about what might be a good next direction for you to make progress with your marketing. So if you're interested at all, text clarity, the word clarity, to 66866, and you get 3 things. 1, you get the PowerPoint. 2, we'll figure out a time for a 15-minute meeting if you want. And 3, I'm going to give away a signed copy of my book, and you'll be in the drawing for that. All right. So questions? Great.
Hi, my name is Wendy Weiner. I see you. I'm a film producer. I produce feature films and television. I live in Minnesota, so I don't produce here. That said, I have a project that's very much in line with what we're talking about. And to give an example, the project is called My Golden Blood. It's a television series from network television. The point of that is to empower young adults for our audience, to build a community, and to empower them to donate blood, which is an urgent need. So I have a theory that where there's a need, there's a seed. I'd love your comment on that. I trademarked that, by the way. Where there's a need, there's a seed. And because there was a need for this, and when we were structuring this series, could have had any, and blood's a real thing, could have had any kind of genetic thing, whatever. We picked this one so that we could really empower our audience to this. And I'm curious about your thoughts about community building around a mission that kind of overflows into the entertainment.
So I love where there's a need, there's a seed. People only have so much time, right? So much mind share, energy share. We all know it. We've all experienced it. Where it hurts is where you go, right? So I think that's another way of saying, there will be progress if there's a path where it hurts. And that's, along the lines of what I hear you saying. So yeah, absolutely. I don't do, community marketing so much, but I absolutely see it applies totally, right? You need it to spread. You need the network to happen. And this marketing is another way, picture rather than that journey, it's more like a spreading network, right? A web. It travels faster when you apply the superpowers.
Conveniently, all human beings have blood. We may look different, but we all have blood, and there may be a need.
Yeah.
And you can create an artificial heart in a laboratory, but there's no way to create the artificial blood. It has to come from one heart to another. So.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I got a question just about, maybe with the first one that you talked about, telling a true story. I'm just curious, when you think about telling a true story, is that infused into the entire brand and they're really getting that story through all ways that they might interact with the brand? It's kind of infused into the foundation, or is it more telling a true story where it could be infused into the about us and the mission and why we're doing what we're doing? I'm just wondering the actual application of telling a true story, how you would see companies.
For me, I think it's the first of what you said. The way I view it is people sometimes think of marketing as, oh yeah, the website. And the website's important for sure. But the percent of your audience that finds you by going to your About page, other than maybe somebody in equity or something where it's like a process, it's really low. Where people experience you is on the street. It's the person, the employees, right? Let's say you have 50 employees. Every one of those employees should be full of that true story, should know the true story, and then that will multiply. It's the network effect. Your products. In a product meeting, there should be a conversation. Does this align with who we are, our story? Because people experience brands through using a product too. To me, it's very holistic. It should be everything.
When you say something really cool, it heats up in here. It's pretty cool.
Is there a common mistake that you see most often when you interact with a company?
The most common challenge, pain that I see with marketing is, I'm going to say two. It's two extremes. One is the silver bullet. So they've been convinced that there's this one tactic that is going to make all the difference. It's going to magic. It's a magic. They're going to put all this money in this campaign, and magically, a month later, all the leads are going to come rolling in. And it doesn't work that way. I wish it did. Sometimes, maybe you get lucky. So that's one mistake, and I think you guys understand how I would approach that. You have to see the overall need and create an experience that's more than one thing. The second thing is the opposite, where people say, oh, look at what all these people, all these best practices, we got to do all this stuff, checklist marketing, right? Everything in the kitchen sink. And no matter how big your budget is, you don't have enough time or money for that. A story I like to tell is I worked for a multi-billion-dollar company in the marketing department. There was over 100 marketing employees. We struggled with this problem just as much as one-person companies. We bit off more than we could chew. And the dirty secret about marketing campaigns is you hear about them when they're launched. A lot of them get quietly shut down before they get done. The success rate, the completion rate and success rate of marketing programs, I don't know that stat, but I bet you it's under 50%. So that's the second common thing, is people trying to do too much.
So that internal branding of telling the story, that's hard when you have 50 employees.
When you have how many?
50 employees.
Yeah.
How do you get there? We've done it, I've done it, but it's really hard.
It is really hard.
It's really hard. I mean, you make it sound really easy, but that whole regime of actually coming up with that tagline, that's what it ends up being.
Yeah.
Like Harley's the rebel inside.
Yeah.
And I just, I mean, you really help clarify it here, but that's really hard.
The CEOs that I've worked with that have been the most successful with their marketing are like consumed with company culture. And that's really what we're talking about. It's more than a marketing campaign. It's instilling the purpose of the whole business. It goes back to leadership books. That's really what we're talking about, is if you have that muscle, this works, right? Because it's just translating that into action. I think it is a lot of work, and I think you can't do it just on the side. Anybody else?
Is it vision mission related?
Yeah, I think it's another way to talk about that same topic. I totally think. I have a marketing lens, but it's the same thing. You don't need to do that twice. It's all the same thing. This is marketing using that vision mission.
Pete, great stuff. Marketing supports sales, right?
Yeah.
How do you see a good handoff from your marketing system to a good sales team? How do you see that put together?
I'm glad you asked that. For me, it goes back to what I said about the definition of marketing. It's about creating these relationships, right? Well, sales is part of that too. And I think it depends somewhat on your business model, because there are companies that the sale goes digital almost maybe to the end, right? Some people don't have live salespeople, but there's still industries out there that it starts really early with the salespeople. So it's a factor in that thing. I'm a believer that marketing's not in charge of sales, but the plan has to come from marketing as I described it, and then sales has to buy into that. And then that's how you work together. That's some of that authenticity. Let's all agree, sales and marketing, what are our roles in this company? And because otherwise, I think you guys have experienced those meetings, over and over, sales and marketing, because sales thinks they do this, and marketing thinks they do this. And until you can agree on that, and it's hard to do, and nobody always agrees, but.
Pete. Appreciate it. We always have great insights. You were approached the CFO and CEO given the pending recession we may be entering into, and they said we need results fast with a small budget. What's your lead into these guys or gals?
I would say, I understand you're in a hurry, but if you don't know the beginning of this, you're in the dark. You're shooting in the dark. So the first step has to be: do we know our target? Do we know, that up front? Why do we exist, and what are we off to do? And then we can pick the fastest way to make that difference. I see a lot of people ask. It's kind of that silver bullet mentality. It's like, what's the lever I can pull to solve this problem? There's not a lever. Sorry. That's what I would say. Thanks, everybody.
Actually, one more. Take that and say yes and. If somebody has a team and they want to kind of take a first step, what journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step? What kind of concrete first step thing, get a small victory, get everybody headed in the right direction? What might be the first thing that you would suggest?
The initial thing that I've seen make a huge difference very early on with clients is that clarity around who we're targeting and the clarity around how we help them. A lot of companies, that's an easy first step. That's low-hanging fruit because they've got this wide market. Who do we help? Oh, we help businesses that are under 500 million. Yeah, people, that happens. So we start with, no, really, let's talk about that ideal, what's the one that they just go, oh my gosh, this is the best thing I've ever seen. You saved my life. Who's that? That's the biggest. And then that next part that goes with it is, what's our story? Why are we different than literally everyone else? You need a story for your business that not a single other business can say. You might say, I can't do that. Well, yes, you can. Where you sit, your particular product, your location, your price, whatever it is, you have a unique offer. And those two things, very clear definition and our unique place in the world. We're the ones that do X. That's a huge start. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, just a reminder, February 2nd, we have Family Matters, and anybody who wants to dive into that topic earlier than next month, we have a couple of participants right up here in front. Anyway, hope to see you on February 2nd. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the community. Again, new website, brimacomb.com. You can get a whole bunch of new stuff. Love some feedback, good or bad, so please take 5 minutes and kick some ideas into the clubby community. So thank you very much.